Bellingham is going to have everyone, and I mean everyone, looking at him. Bellingham is a player that literally comes with a decade possibly of service if he's managed correctly and doesn't peak too early and etc. So the price is something that I think is irrelevant. It will look expensive, but if you think about what you're getting.
This video is being brought to you with thanks to our friends at Surfshark. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to not only browse the internet entirely anonymously, but also very securely. Surfshark will secure your data with industry-leading measures using uncrackable encryption and the most secure VPN protocols. One subscription with Surfshark will work across all of your devices. I use it for unlocking things like American Netflix. We also use it if we want to watch our Canadian DAZN account and a couple of other bits and pieces. The good news is you can get 83% off. That's right, I did say 83% off. And an additional 3 months free using the Anfield Agenda link in the description. They've also got a really credible and unique 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like Surfshark, it doesn't meet your needs, which I'm going to be honest with you, it will and you won't. But if you do, if you want to change, Surfshark give you 30 days to change your mind. Why not give Surfshark a try? You'll be supporting us here at Anfield Agenda and you'll be treating yourself to the best VPN provider out there, bar none.
Let us get into the juiciness that is Jude Bellingham, and I would very much like to get into Jude. Anyway, Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham spent a couple of days at the Kirby Academy when he was 11. His family ultimately decided to stay loyal to Birmingham City rather than relocate, but he left a lasting impression. That's via James Pearce. That's interesting. I'm moving on, Jude Bellingham. Liverpool's interest in Jude Bellingham dates back nearly a decade, says James Pearce. Oh, that's obviously what I just read. Actually, there you go. Fucking hell. There we go. So, yeah, interesting. Also via James Pearce, the battle for Jude Bellingham. Dortmund value him at 150 million euros and still hope he'll sign a new contract. Liverpool retain strong interest but face competition from United. Don't even bother. City, worrying. Chelsea, no, don't bother. And Real, usually worrying, but when it comes to an Englishman, not worrying. Who's got the edge? Who do you think has got the edge in that race?
Mate, from our boss, our Lord and Savior, I still trust him. And I think that Liverpool are very much in the front seat. Honestly, I can say that. I from when I used to be a little bit skinnier than I used to be now, and it was so much easier to fit into shit. But these days, got a little bit of a beer belly.
Oh, Lewis, I'd have to say Liverpool. But yeah, no, Bellingham. Listen, I do think like we're gonna put the work in for him. But I think we're going to have to be prepared to break that wage structure again. Would you not suggest? Like, Bellingham is going to have everyone, and I mean everyone, looking at him. Bellingham is a player that literally comes with a decade possibly of service if he's managed correctly and doesn't peak too early and etc. So the price is something that I think is irrelevant. It will look expensive, but if you think about what you're getting, and if you think about like he has 5 years to go until his actual prime. Even longer. So think about what inflation and prices would look like in 5 years. So you sign him now for whatever Dortmund are asking. Dortmund are going to want to keep him, but Dortmund need to know their place. They are a stepping stone club. It is just the facts. So he will move and will want to move. He's had a good education at Dortmund. It's been great for his career to go to Germany and learn the trades of the German way. But ultimately, he needs to make that next step. And as an English boy, surely he has aspirations to be a Premier League legend. And he can still do that with ease, which is fine. And that's how young he is.
Exactly. The thing is, as you said, 10 years of service you can get out of Jude Bellingham easily, plus maybe. And I heard that Dortmund wanted to give him a new contract. That's never going to happen. Like unless it included a release clause. Which was able to be broken. Yeah, it's a good financial decision to get a player like Bellingham in, I think. Obviously, there's always the risk that he picks up a career-ending injury, but that's the same with pretty much every player.
No one ever look his injury. The moment we sign him and he signs the papers, I can already see the future transfer market injury history page being stocked. No one ever looked. No, I think Jude Bellingham was a no-brainer. He sorts out a problem position for us for a decade. Our midfield is in need of dire straits. And listen, I can accept the mediocrity of it now, even though it should have been sorted now. But if you miss out on Jude Bellingham, that's when I think a lot of Liverpool fans are going to change their mindsets on our ownership. They'll let the current kind of negligence slide. But if you actually miss out on Bellingham after all the talk and all the hype, if we bottle Bellingham over finances, Bellingham will want to come to Liverpool. If he's just, but you can't take the piss. Maybe he's willing to take 25 grand less a week to go to Liverpool over City, because City will throw the book at him. But if you let Bellingham go for being stingy, they won't be forgiven, I don't think.
No, well, like we said this about, they've been forgiven for a lot worse than that. So to be fair, like, at the end of the day, they own the club. Really, what can we do? Like, yeah, we can protest or what have you, but the only time they were ever going to, if they were ever going to get driven out of the club, would be if the Super League happened, and it didn't. And I'm obviously not one of their biggest critics. I think they do a lot right, despite the fact they do a lot wrong. But I wouldn't say that they would be driven out. But I think there would be questions asked if they don't sign anybody. I mean, it might not specifically be Bellingham. It might be, say, someone else very, very top became available, and we didn't go after anyone next summer. Then that would be questioned to a high regard. But obviously, he is the number one target. But there are other people in the world than Jude Bellingham.
No, I understand that, but driven out sounds a bit, excessive. But I think the pressure would be at the height they've ever received, because it would be a culmination, I think. Now, obviously, if they went out and got the likes of a Caicedo and a Kone and someone else, and we didn't get Bellingham, I think that's different. But if they're passing up Bellingham for financial reasons, they're going to pass up on other players for the same reasons, because the market has gone crazy. But no players make as much sense as Jude Bellingham. Like, you go and find me any other player of his age that has as much experience and is a better fit. Find someone as a better fit. Like, honestly, you can go and get budget players and cost price deals, but you're not going to find anyone as perfect for us as him. And I know some people have kind of questioned, is he actually that good? He is that good, and I promise you, he'll move from strength to strength.
Yeah, like, there's no debate really. The lad is so supremely talented, and it's frightening the levels that he could reach. But honestly, for football reasons, right? I want him at Liverpool. But if Real Madrid managed to pull it off, right, and that midfield of Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Bellingham would be frightening. It would be Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric. It would just be mad. Be mental.
Listen, if it was any other nationality, like, I think we wouldn't have the preference. But surely after a couple of years away from home, away from your country, you're gonna want to come back. Then again, maybe he wants to do the total opposite. Maybe he wants to be a kind of an anomaly in that sense, where he's probably one of the first ever. Well, no, absolutely, the first ever English player to stay out of the Premier League for his whole career. Listen, usually Real Madrid petrify me when it comes to players, but I think Bellingham is different. I think City is the one we have to watch out for. I see Dean put in the chat there about Bellingham and United. Obviously, he chose Dortmund over United a few years ago, which, as that suggests, was a pragmatic career decision. I can see that, absolutely. Obviously, he knows that Dortmund would afford him the game time, but I don't think United have the juice right now for Bellingham. I think they certainly have the funds, and they like spending a lot of money on players. But surely Bellingham will see Liverpool and obviously City as better destinations, regardless. And I'm sure there's no chance he supported United as a boy. I'm sure he was a Birmingham City fan. So yeah, would you be worried about Man United in this?
No.
No. Yeah, like, honestly,
no. I'd be absolutely. It would be baffling if he chose them. Obviously, they are a club in transition, but realistically, you've got a chance to work with a GOAT, like a generationally regarded manager in Jurgen Klopp. You've got a fan base who would completely adore you. You've got an opening in the team that you could literally he could be there he I think his brother would probably get in the team at the moment, but it's
good as well.
Like, the lad is so so special. I don't think Man United, even now, right, they're in a bit of a good form, but it will take them half a decade to get anywhere near the Premier League title for me.
No, listen, I think United are in a really good position, and I called it when they initially brought in Ten Hag. And I listen, they're never going to be as good as they once were, because let's face it, they were a freak of nature under Ferguson. I do think the league was a lot simpler back then. And there was some questionable decisions put towards them and possible corruption, but that's for another day. But they're a couple of years away from truly challenging and getting to the level of Liverpool and City. Now, City are going to stay unbelievable for ages, and they are a complete. Not, people are looking at Liverpool now, though, and it's like, oh, they're on their way down. Nah, we just had injuries. I think we'll be fine this year. But yeah, if Bellingham chose United over us, I would be shocked. And to be honest with you, if he'd done that, I'd be like, well, clearly you've thrown your career down this one. But he seems too smart to do that.